Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. So, we are now at the second part of the video that we started a few days ago, and we were in Edinburgh. So, I arrived in Edinburgh, and I know that it's a place I want to go, I want to be. It's like love, when you feel love for someone, you just know. There is no explanation, there is no, but not just love, like even when you meet someone and you like the person regarding who it is, you just know it. And the same things was with Edinburgh. There was something there, something magical, something beautiful, something that I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be part of. And 2 days sightseeing the city, because the girl I was supposed to meet was busy at working during the day, so I had time to explore the town. It was wonderful, wonderful. And I didn't know yet that I was going to move to Edinburgh, but that was the beginning. This strong draw, like to this city, like this stronger connection. So I spent 2 wonderful days. I met this girl. That was the reason why I moved to Edinburgh for the weekend, and we had a great evening. And on Sunday evening, I get the night bus back to London. So that was something I knew it was special. And just to make sure that I knew, and that was a place that had, would hold something special. In that 2 days, I ended up match with another girl. This time it was a Japanese woman, and look, guess what? Like, I was studying Japanese because I can speak a little bit because of my ex. So obviously I have a connection with Japanese people. I have an interest, to learn Japanese. So obviously, which was the best match? Obviously, a Japanese woman, just to make sure that I would be in the loop with Edinburgh. And that's because the day after, since when, then basically the day after, in London, the girl that I went to Edinburgh for, she actually unmatched me and doesn't answer anymore to my WhatsApp. But it wasn't a problem, because obviously she was just a messenger for me, to get me to Edinburgh. And plus, I was then in touch with this other girl. And again, like how everything was already planned by something, like you can call God, the universe, the creator. Like, in all this situation that happened to me with Edinburgh and so on, it's obviously there was something in charge, something that was playing with all the people, the events. And obviously it wasn't a coincidence that amongst all girls I could match, it would be a Japanese woman. And guess what? Chit chatting, she invites me again to go to Edinburgh for the weekend. And that's basically what 2 weeks later happens. I get the bus again, night bus, and there we are. I was in Edinburgh again, and obviously I spent amazing days, and this time I make the decision that I would move to Edinburgh. And not only that, it's actually this girl became a really important friend and connection while I was in Edinburgh. I took the bus back to London. At this time I knew that I wanted to move to live in Edinburgh. So after 5 months, I quit the job and I moved to Edinburgh. So I think I don't know if it was few weeks or few months, now I can't remember very well, but what I remember is that one day like a light bulb, like someone sent me this message, inside my head, and then that's where I remember what Pauline in Milton Keynes told me at the time. You will move, New Year, you will move to live in a new country. Well, Scotland was a new country, and as Pauline said, it was a new year. Was the new year because I think it was October, November. I think it was September. I can't remember, but it was New Year. Pauline told me that the year before, and it just, it blows my mind. Like I was in a new country, because Scotland, it is part of the United Kingdom, but it's another country, literally. And honestly, after 2 years living in Edinburgh, culturally, mentally, it's another country. It has nothing to do with the rest of UK. That 2 years in Edinburgh have been a roller coaster, like good things, bad things, but it was surreal. Like, it was meant to be, obviously. I was meant to be there, and every day it was like, it was special. Like the city, the country, it holds something amazing. It's the energy is different than what you experience in England. There is obviously something up there that is kind of like open your chakras, open your soul, and quite few things happen. Some mystical events took place, and other things that I learned while I was there made me, understand why it was meant to be. So there was something that I noticed from the beginning. It was I would say, like every week I would have at least 1 or 2 strong deja vu, like I'm a really strong, like I never had. This feeling I've already been there. It was strong, and it was so often. Yeah, I mean, I had in the past deja vus. They would happen, every now and then, after maybe, like every few years, or, like once a year. But literally almost every week I would have one really strong. So obviously there was something there. Definitely, no doubt. So amongst the many things that happened in those 2 years, there is one that was quite, I would say, quite powerful. So I decided to try to reach Glasgow from Edinburgh by the canal, now realizing that actually it's much longer than I thought It's quite long, but beautiful. So I sleep early morning and I start to walk, enjoying the surroundings and the beauty of the Scotland countryside. It starts to rain. It's like slow, like small, like a light drizzles, like always, like it's every day literally in Scotland, and that was making the walk even more surreal. One like while walking, and thinking about life, I get quite. I would say quite melancholic. I start to think about these famous Korean girls that I've been talking about many times. And while I think about her, I decided to play on my how you call it? It was on my phone. It was just like a mini pod from Apple. At the time, I was listening to music from that, and I decided to play the soundtrack of Cloud Atlas, a movie that I watched a few weeks earlier, and that was really powerful. For the who didn't watch it, Cloud Atlas is the story of those, I think it's 8 people that are connected to each other from karmic connections, and life after life they meet over and over again to solve unfinished karmic contracts, and being part of a soul group, they help each other to learn and grow as a spiritual beings. It was wonderful. I recommend, from written and directed by the Wachowski sisters, and the soundtrack it's wonderful. So I decided to play it while thinking about this Korean girl, because watching the movie, there was something in the movie that reminded me a lot about what I was feeling for this girl. So while listening to music and working, I received a message on Kakao Talk, that it's the equivalent of WhatsApp for Korean, and at the same time a bit of Facebook as well, all in one. And it's this Korean girl replying to me to something I written a few weeks earlier, and then honestly not expecting any more reply from her. So a little bit, because I was feeling a bit like, sad and melancholic, and I missed her. I decided to literally tell everything about what I experienced in those years, and regarding should believe me or not, or should think I was crazy or not. So now something happens. While I'm talking to her, I feel through to look on my side, and I notice a castle, a medieval castle on the other side of the canal. But this castle has something, and straight away my mind goes to the past life regression I did years before in London, where I had these images inside my head of me living in the middle age, hitting with my belt this woman that I felt to be this Korean girl inside this medieval building. And for some reason I felt, for some reason, obviously there was always a reason, I felt this building to be the building where I was in this past life regression. I felt that it could have been the building where I lived in this past life. Now, the interesting part comes when walking, I see this swan, lying on the grass, and it makes me think about the Swan Lake, and this obviously, the Swan Lake is a ballet performance, and obviously makes me think about this Korean girl I was, chatting with. I decided to take a photo, to take a photo of this one. But when, after taking the photo, when I go and to look at the photo again, there was no more swan. There was literally shape of a swan, bright, like if the swan transformed in pure light. All the body of this bird was gone. There was just a shape and a really strong light. Something that obviously wasn't there when I decided to take the photo. I didn't have any flash. It was very, you say in English, gloomy, because it was cloudy, it was a bit raining. So there was no really light. Now, anyone can have their own idea. I like to believe that was a message, and a very powerful message. Because, keep walking. I sent a message of explanation to one of my really good friends that is a psychic, and it turns out that day she asked a sign from the universe in the form of a swan, and I messaged her about this swan, sending her a picture of the swan. So you can see how we are all connected, and how everyone playing a part to each other. The Korean girl to me to my friend, and then it changed. So we are connected, and for me it was a message that I was trying to understand and to explain, and I think was explained when tired and wet. I decided to stop to a coffee shop that was on the way, and I sit on the chair drinking the coffee, warming up myself. I open Instagram, and there we are. There was a card from a tarot reader I follow, and that publish every day a different card. The first things I see on Instagram was a card. The card was a ballerina with two swans on the side, and the message was, the end is just a new beginning. Now, the message I could interpret it in this way as that was the end of the connection I had with this woman, maybe. And there was time now to move on, and a new door of opportunity would open. So obviously I felt strongly that was the explanation, but obviously there was a part of me that wanted to see this woman again, that still want to see this woman again, but at the same time feeling strongly that I need to move on from something that happened years ago in New Zealand. And I feel like holding on that thought is just doesn't let me move on, doesn't let me I would say evolve in my personal journey, and it's becoming stronger and more evident now that I'm in Bangkok, and where I thought we were meant to meet again and didn't happen. So that card might be the reason, and it might be the reason why I'm here talking about it. So we are all connected, and this is, for me, at least in my journey, there's no doubts. We are all connected. We are here to learn something, for sure. And all those people I've been meeting over and over again over the years, people that I met in one country and then I met again in another country, or that I met over and over again, is obviously, for me, is a sign that we are all connected. It can be otherwise. I mean, there are things and people that I met in way that the coincidences are not any longer the option, and obviously something more is going on. And but sometimes, those connections are not there to stay. Sometimes those connections are just there to take you to the next step of our evolution, because that's what I feel that our journey is, simply evolving, becoming spiritually stronger, learning all the various shade of love. And I strongly believe it, that I don't have the proof, but I strongly believe, and definitely what I know to be true is that there is something more behind what we can see, and we can only discover it if we start to live the materialistic way of life to a more spiritualistic approach. I think is the right way to say it, because all what our society is teaching us, it's pure distractions. So all our working, our stress, and so on is literally distracting us and lowering down our energy from reaching our full potential, and connecting us with this powerful energy that it's love and a fearless existence while we are on earth as a humans. So whatever is gonna happen in the future with this woman, if I will meet her again, I don't know, it's definitely played an important role in my journey and growing, becoming the person I am. So it's definitely, I will be forever grateful to came across this woman that directly and indirectly made me change. And I feel strongly that if we're gonna meet again, I think it's not gonna be in this life, we're gonna meet again in the next. Have a good night from Bangkok.